have 2 children, a daughter, Sam, female, nearly adult, and a son, 19, and I've always ensured that their education is a top priority. My son is already off at school and doing very well, and Sam was accepted into her desired college school and program. My mom promised to pay for her entire education a long time ago, including tuition and accommodation. Everyone was overjoyed by this. However, after my divorce several years ago, Sam prioritized my ex-wife's family every season. Sam decided to visit her mom's side of the family instead of spending time with mine. We are always told that there are many more people there and the food is so much better. I can't argue with the fact that her extended family was there, but an hour with her grandparents is not asking too much. This all upset my mother and strained their relationship. 2 weeks ago, she called me to say she would no longer pay for Sam's education. She felt that Sam had put her family second and didn't treat her like she mattered. I hate to say it, but I also can't argue with that. Since then, Sam has fully understood what college will look like for her. She will likely need to rethink her dream school and major. On top of that, the loans will anchor her life. She asked me to help, and I certainly will when I can, but when her mother and I divorced, she got all the college accounts and used that to fund her house. This is old news, but I feel very relevant. While I feel bad for my daughter, I do not feel responsible for my mother's actions. She chose to stop supporting Sam's education, and I cannot force her to change her mind. I've spoken to my mother and tried to reason with her, but she is firm in her decision. I've also told Sam that she brought this on herself for treating her grandmother less than the rest of her family. Sam is understandably upset and feels like she's being punished for wanting to spend time with her mom's side of the family. However, she's old enough to understand the consequences of her actions and make decisions for herself. As a parent, I've always taught my children to take responsibility for their choices, and I feel this situation is no different. So, am I the idiot here? Should I have gotten more involved? Edit, my mom is paying for my son. She was going to pay for all the grandkids, which is only these 2, as I'm an only child, lol. I've asked Sam what she thought and would happen after my mom warned her, and I think she was caught up being a teenager and not realizing her mistakes. Not the idiot. Your son has continued to spend time with grandma, and it doesn't imply that your family is too boring to visit as your daughter has, so he has earned the privilege of your mother's gift. He put in the work to maintain the relationship and is being rewarded for it. Your daughter didn't. Your ex needs to refund her college account. I don't understand why no one has issues with the fact she misappropriated her college fund so her extended family could have a free house. The problem is, it sounds like it was never officially a college fund. It was simply a savings account OP and the wife shared. It also seems like OP and/or his family have more money than the ex and her family if OP's mom was paying for college while the ex's family needed a place to live. So when the couple divorced, the judge looked at their assets and declared what the ex-wife would receive in the divorce settlement. Also, OP stayed in the marital house while his ex-wife and kids had to buy a place to live. I agree, OP most likely got more other assets in the divorce since these accounts were given to the ex. So if OP got 50% of the assets to use, for example a house and a small account, an ex-wife got 50%, both college accounts and the car, this would mean that college funding should have been worked out again after the divorce with both parents contributing. I think everyone's the idiot here. I'm not sure why you're on the internet concerned about if you're an idiot or not, instead of being concerned with your daughter's future and your relationship with her. If my grandmother decided to pull the college money she promised me during my senior year and I had to change my plans and my dad was all, "Oh well, these are the consequences of spending time with your mom's family and not doing exactly what your grandma wants," I'd be angry and it would absolutely change our relationship. Your mom has likely permanently ruined her relationship with your daughter. You can decide if you want to do the same, or you can actually act like a dad and care. Yeah, I'm curious about people saying the young girl is at fault, especially because the college tuition help shouldn't come with strings, in my opinion. Sometimes people are more attached to one side of their family than the other. I experienced that myself with mine. It makes me wonder if there's more to the story between grandma and granddaughter. I, 40 male, have a sister, 30, who's getting married in a week. The groom proposed to her a year ago at a family dinner, leaving everyone speechless but very happy for them as they are long-time companions. My sister asked my son, nearly adult, to make her wedding dress during this dinner. My son has always loved design and fashion, He took technical courses in these areas and sewing, and even his friends kept asking for his clothes because they were so beautiful. He agreed, but said that he needed time and that he would need her opinion constantly. At first, my sister was very annoying. My son drew about 50 dress designs in a month and she only liked one, which he continued to develop. He sewed it with great quality fabric, which I paid for as I wanted to get involved in a certain way. For 5 months, he made several adjustments to suit her wishes, as she always complained about something. After a while, he arrived at the final model, which was amazing. My mother cried seeing my sister in the dress, and I confess I almost got emotional too. The problem was that my son came to talk to me last week about the wedding invitation that had yet to arrive for him, but for other family members. I thought maybe he didn't need one, but it still felt weird. So I messaged my sister raising this issue, and she replied that she didn't want any underage people at her wedding because there would be alcohol. I asked if she would make an exception for my son, but she cut me off and said no. Our family has no children, my son is the only minor, so I didn't see any sense in this rule for family members. And to make matters worse, my son was very sad and cried because he spent months on this dress and couldn't go to the wedding. So I was very upset and told my sister to look for another dress as soon as possible, as she would no longer wear the one my son had made. She called and yelled at me saying I was being unreasonable and couldn't do this. My mother called me saying I should deliver the dress and follow the rules, but I didn't and hung up on her. Because of this, the family is divided. Many agree with me and condemn my sister's action, saying she could only make an exception, but another part says I'm unreasonable and I'm spoiling her big day. I don't think I'm being wrong, but just rational and paying her back in kind. So, am I the idiot? So your sister can't have children at her wedding but use your son as child labor to make her wedding dress? He's responsible enough to make a wedding dress, but heaven forbid he should be around alcohol. Who knows what would happen? Geez, she's an idiot. But your son should go and wear the dress. Wait, she not only wants him to make the dress, not attend, but she isn't paying anything for the dress. What the actual duck? OP should have made it very clear that she could buy the dress for not even retail, what it would actually cost to buy a custom-made dress plus idiot tax. OP is obviously not the idiot, but needs to start ensuring that the son gets paid properly for every project from now. Exactly. He's old enough to provide free labor for months, but she makes a flimsy excuse to exclude him and only him. If I were OP, this would be my hill. Sis is tacky, selfish, unkind, and downright rude. Let her go buy her own dress. I wonder if she was planning on letting anyone know who was the designer and tailor of the dress. My wife and I recently bought a new house. After we closed on the house, my sister came to see it and asked when we would like her husband to install a ramp. The ramp is for her son, who's in a wheelchair. He and other nieces and nephews used to come over to our old house all the time to hang out with our kids. My sister's husband, who works in construction, previously installed a ramp in our old house and my brother's house because he and my sister want their son to feel welcome in everyone's home. Our previous house was very standard and installing a ramp was easy. This new house, however, sits up high, which means it needs a very long ramp. After measuring according to specifications, we've realized that we cannot install a ramp unless we get rid of some of our home's features. Our front yard is a tiered garden. It's my wife's favorite feature as she's an avid gardener. We probably would not have bought this house if not for the garden, as we had our eye on another. Building a ramp leading to the front door would cover most of the tiered garden. The only other option is the side door. We don't have a back door. The side door, however, leads directly into the driveway that goes up alongside the house to the garage in the back. If we built a ramp in this area, it would make the driveway too narrow for many of our vehicles. We have very limited parking on our street, so we would basically lose half our driveway parking. I also couldn't get my old muscle car in the garage where I had planned on storing it. I've explained this to my sister, who is unhappy about our reasons, especially the one for the front door. She says she gets the parking problem, but the garden is just cosmetic and not worth making her son feel unwanted or like a second thought. Other family members are also unhappy because now our house is unusable for family parties since my nephew won't be able to come. We do family parties on a rotating system between my brother and me since we're the only ones with big enough homes. I said we could do the family parties out in the backyard in the summer. It's big and has a lot of trees and a large canopy area where we can put some nice outside furniture and barbecue. The garage also has a bathroom that's accessible, so it shouldn't be a problem for my nephew to come so long as everyone hangs out outside. They think it's unreasonable because it will be too hot to stay outside the whole time and people will need air conditioning. My nephew will feel left out if they go inside to cool down. My brother also doesn't like that the burden is now on him always to host, especially since he will always have to host Thanksgiving and Christmas, which are the most hectic holidays. We paid for the materials the last time my brother-in-law built the ramp. I assume they're expecting the same arrangement. Not the idiot, it's your home, not theirs. Yeah, it sucks the nephew is handicapped, but why should you have to get rid of the garden you specifically chose the house for or block your parking? They didn't pay for the house and they don't live there. If they really want to visit, they can figure something out. The audacity. Should they have been involved in your house hunt and chipped in then? Unfair that this is always on you and your brother to host. Let's do it at their place since it must be accessible, or just get together and rent a place for must-do holidays. Honestly, while I applaud them for looking out for their kid, it is super entitled and self-centered to come by and say, "Nice house, but when can I tear down your garden to build a ramp outside?" If the family is really jumping down your throat, everyone can pitch in to buy a portable ramp. If this is everyone's problem, it can be everyone's solution. I, 50 male, have 4 kids with my wife, a female 25, a male 24, a female 18, and a teen male. The youngest seems to think I'm the idiot, so I went here for a verdict since he's so determined to make me the bad guy on TikTok. I treat my kids the same regarding finances and earning stuff. The oldest got a phone at 13, so the other kids had to wait until they were 13 to get a phone. You get the gist. I saved from every paycheck for 16 years to put into a car account. Then, when my oldest turned 16, I divided it by 4 and boom, that was the amount each kid got from me to spend on a car. Any extra was on them. So the amount each kid gets to spend on a car is $10,000. It'll get you a nice used one, but the catch is you pay for gas with chores or a job after school. Insurance is on my wife and me. 10 years ago, when my oldest bought a car, it was a bit of a different market, so I asked her and her brother when the 18-year-old was ready to drive if they would value the car they got versus the money amount, and they both said to make up for inflation, add $5,000 to each of their car budgets. So 2 years ago, my 18-year-old daughter got $15,000 to spend on a car. She also worked part-time during the school year, worked full-time on school breaks, saved money doing chores around the house, saved her birthday money, didn't go out with friends, etc. For Christmas, she asked for things she needed for school, like new shoes instead of games, sold her clothes that didn't fit, used her sister's dress for junior prom and pocketed the money, and babysat her cousins. She saved and then spent it on a brand new 2023 Honda CR-V paid for in cash. Her reasoning is Hondas last forever, and a CR-V is big enough for college moving and stuff, so overall she saved an additional $15,000 in 2 years. Now it's our son's turn. He wanted to go to the dealership on his birthday and we did. He took us to see the truck he wanted, a 2020 Chevy with the $25,000 price tag. We explained to him that we were not buying him a $25,000 truck. He said, well, with inflation from when his siblings bought a car and the 18-year-old getting a brand new car, he thought he could get this one. I told him that's not how it worked. Each one of his siblings got $10,000 and his sister worked her butt off for the new car. So he should pick a $15,000 car or do what his sister did and save for a new one. He said it's unfair because his siblings get more than him due to the sheer value of the cars alone. I offered that if he wanted, I did this with all my kids, I would sell him my car for the $15,000, a 2018 Ford F-250. He asked me what I would get and I said I'd been saving for a new truck anyway, so I'd buy a new truck. He immediately said, take me home. I don't want to be here. So we did. Now he's speaking out on social media about how the youngest children always get the short end of the stick. So am I the idiot for treating my kids exactly the same? Not the idiot. If you're willing to buy a teenager a $15,000 vehicle, the only appropriate response from the kid is, thank you. If I were in your shoes, my child wouldn't be getting any car until he gets over his sense of entitlement and apologizes. And that apology would need to be just as public as his social media complaints. You actually took inflation into account. $15,000 is a large amount to put towards a car. His sister got a brand new car because she worked for it, not because you bought it for her. Your son is a spoiled brat. You are more than generous with the $15,000. I got an old beater truck that was my grandpa's for my first vehicle. Yeah, I'm honestly pretty shocked at the entitlement because most people don't get a car from their parents to begin with. You should tell him to take the $15,000 and shut up, or the next offer he gets will be from Fisher Price. My sister and her fiancé plan on getting married in a couple of weeks. That's great. He makes her happy. They sprung this on us about a month ago. They don't want a big production, so it'll be a small wedding and reception, 40 people in all. I have a spring break in a couple of weeks. I've been planning my trip since last fall, and I told her I couldn't attend. She asked why. I said I was going to be on vacation that week. She thinks I'm an idiot for thinking my vacation is more important than her wedding, so she got her parents involved. So I told them I would cut my vacation short to attend the wedding if she paid for my theatre tickets I'm not going to use and any cancellation or rebooking fees. They said that they would pay using some of the money they were planning to give to her for the wedding. She said I was being petty, taking their money, so I said screw it and I'm not changing my plans. Not the idiot, she's making lots of demands for something that's supposed to be a not big production. An invitation is not a summons. You asked for a reasonable compromise and she chose to show her butt. As a result, she can have a wedding without you. Send a nice postcard letting her know you're thinking of her. A short-notice wedding is the same as a long-distance wedding, inconvenient for people, and you can't expect everybody to be free at short notice. The same way you can't expect everyone to be free or want or afford to travel. If your attendance was important to her, she should have liaised with you about the date. People getting married need to understand everybody else's lives don't just stop because they're getting married. She's upset because her surprise wedding is also a test of who will drop everything for her wedding. Expecting everyone to drop everything at such short notice is absurd. What's the big hurry anyway? Is she pregnant? Is someone in the extended family in poor health? I hope there's a good reason.